Hello YouTube family, welcome back to my channel. It is almost that time of the month again, almost time for the next new moon, next new chapter starting in each of our lives. Very exciting. This is the first new chapter starting post eclipse season, so it's very exciting because the eclipse season of September really brought up a lot for transmutation and transformation. And then the full moon following the eclipse season, which happened in Vedic Pisces Revati a few weeks ago, has brought up wherever you have Pisces in your chart. We all have Pisces in one particular house in our birth chart, so that area has been brought up for illumination through the full moon and more clarity and closures and completions that have been necessary in that area of specifically in to you, depending on what house and if you have any planets in or aspecting Pisces. So we have all been called to feel more, to flow more with our emotions, with our intuition, to listen to our intuition and to really be in that more divine, feminine, allowing, flowing, receptive energy in some area of our life. And that Pisces energy is super psychic and empathetic and connected to the divine. So it's a very powerful energy of closure and completion in such a divine way. And following that closure in our life, or closures, there may be multiple closures, and it may be an internal thing as well. It doesn't have to be external closures. It may be just really coming to a completion with habits and behaviors and patterns that no longer align with your truth and your authenticity, and having the strength and the clarity and the awareness to be able to feel, to heal, and to release that. And now this new moon, this new chapter is really about realigning us, restructuring and reformulating our life in a way that is more aligned with our truest, most authentic self. This star of Chitra is really connected to restructuring, recreating, and really sort of architecturally designing our life. This star is ruled by the celestial architect who can create this beautifully, divinely intricate statue out of a uncut stone. And there are so many quotes that have come to mind thinking about this, and just so much symbology that comes to mind for me when I think about just that metaphor of the uncut stone becoming designing that into a beautiful statue. And I believe the deepest takeaway from that metaphor with Chitra is really about that uncut stone being us in human form. When we are placed on earth here, there are so many layers of limitations that we take on and programming that we need to peel back layer by layer. There is so much in this world of Maya, which is illusions really, that distract us from our truth and from the beauty of our soul, which is buried deep within us. And there's so many layers to really release, and that is the journeying that we go through as humans. It's like with these new moon and full moon cycles, it's like constantly preaching like this is time to release and purge and realign yourself. This is something that happens every month. Every 2 weeks there's a full moon or a new moon. So there is a new moon and full moon cycle which happens every 2 weeks, and the moon is constantly cycling, and we are also cycling with the moon energies. Especially women, we cycle with the ebbs and flows of the moon, and so we are constantly looping around. We are repeating cycles, but also not necessarily doing the same thing over and over again, although in some areas and sometimes we do, because it takes longer to be able to heal, to process, to integrate certain things. Maybe sometimes it's more painful, or for whatever reason we just don't have the awareness to clear that pattern. But also sometimes we need to review and recycle and revisit things, situations, to see things in a new light, a new awareness, a new perspective. And we see it in life all the time. We're constantly going back to revisit things. This happens when planets are retrograding. This happens at new moon and full moon cycles. Things come up, memories sometimes come up for us to process once we have reached a certain level of awareness or consciousness, so we can see the other perspectives involved, because life is so complex and there are so many perspectives and interpretations of energies and wisdom to gain. Like, for example, with this new moon, if you were to watch another astrologer, even if it was another Vedic astrologer, I'm sure they would have a lot of other information to share than what I'm sharing, because we're all interpreting energies and like channeling divine wisdom in our own unique, authentic ways. That was a bit of a tangent, so moving on, I really want to share this beautiful poem, which I received this card with the artwork and the poem. I will try and share it. I'll try and share this on my YouTube thumbnail, but this poem and this art was done by this beautiful woman who I met at her Airbnb that she owned and she had created, which was like a masterpiece of a home. And she is a beautiful, such a divine channel of channeling her art into so much beauty. And I feel that this poem is so Chitra energies. The Cave of Value and Worth. So it looks like that. It's like a cave and there's these beautiful like bushes with faces. They look like little beings, and there's like a heart path going into the cave, which is shaped like a heart. So it says, "Into the cave I fly, take a breath, let out a cry, into the darkness to see the light, into the deep for greater insight, to the matter of fact, to the core, to the truth, to paint away the illusion, to come to the real conclusion, to know what it means to love oneself, to live your dreams through your heart to a new earth, into the cave of value and worth, a space of freedom, choices, joy and play, creating from the heart a new way, limitless, adventurous once more, all welcome, just open your door." So nice. I love this so much. And I was meditating about this new moon and the energies of Chitra, and I was like just journaling some things that came up, and a lot of things came up to do with this beautiful poem and art, which I want to share. So this is a lot to do with Chitra and that whole metaphor of the uncut stone being carved into a statue. So in this cave of value and worth, she's saying it's time to paint away all of the illusions, to go into that cave, which is really entering the depths of your shadows, of the things that you are deeply afraid of. Like that quote, "The cave you fear the most holds the treasures that you're seeking," which I think I've spoken about this before on my channel, but it's like that treasure that you're seeking, the enlightenment, the confidence, the authenticity, the love, it's all in that cave of your shadow self, of all of the things that you're afraid of afraid of feeling, of flowing through you, if like that Pisces full moon that we had to end the eclipse season wants us to really feel and allow ourselves to flow through all of those emotions that we've been avoiding, and all of those difficult things that we push away, that we suppress, because nothing gets suppressed. It's all within us, and it's all tucked away, and it becomes those layers that we now need to peel back and really clear away, to paint away, to pull away. And that is what is happening right now with the post-eclipse, cutting away all of the things. So post-eclipse, which the eclipse season has wanted us to literally eclipse what no longer serves us out of our lives, and leading into this new moon, and on the day of this new moon, we can see that there will be obviously the sun and the moon both in Libra. There is also Mercury and Mars has been and will continue to be in Libra at the time of this new moon. So that is 4 powerful planets in the sign of Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, which is really like this heart cave that we need to enter the shadows of our heart space, and what is heavy in there, what is buried in there. We all carry some pain and trauma and wounding in our heart space that needs clearing. And the star nakshatra called Chitra, which is the new moon, is ruled by Mars. So Mars is very important as well, and Mars is in Libra currently. Mars and Mercury are in the nakshatra called Vishaka in the sign of Libra, so there is a bit of a different energy there, but still similar because they're all in Libra. But Vishaka is a lot to do with this duality of both releasing and excreting the poisons and toxins that we hold as humans, so that we can enter the heavens. And both the duality of these energies are found in Vishaka, and that is where Mars and Mercury have been. Mars, the planet of our inner warrior, defender, protector, soldier, the one within us that is fighting for us and what is important in our life. And Mercury is this planet of our thoughts, our beliefs, the way that we communicate. So this is really interesting. And Venus at the moment is in Virgo. Virgo Venus and Mercury Libra, they have swapped signs. So Mercury and Venus are both also teaching each other a lot. So, and then Venus also, this planet of love, beauty, relationships, balance, harmony, so connected with the energies of Libra, is really wanting us to have a look at how we connect with that Mercurian energy, how we communicate, how we think and what we believe about ourselves, about life, our self-concept and our concepts of life, which create our perceptions of reality and of ourself, which will then really impact our connections and our relationships. And with Mars there, this is really asking us to have a look at how we stand up for ourselves, which is similar to the sun, which is also in Libra. The sun and moon are joining at the time of the new moon. So the sun is our authority, how we take authority for ourselves, how we stand up for ourselves, how we take center stage in our life. And if we do that for ourselves, which when the sun is in Libra, this is when the sun is debilitated, and instead of really taking authority in our life, this is when we are more likely to put other people first and to care more about others and how they're feeling, and making sure everything is in peace and harmony for the world around us and not ourselves, forgetting about ourselves. This is when things like codependency and people pleasing it's just more likely to happen here. So it's time to really ask yourself if that's the case. And I know that we all will be, because that's what the planets are really pushing at us to have a look at, is how divinely in balance and harmony are all of the relationships in our life, which first starts with our relationship with ourselves. And Libra is wanting that balance and harmony and peace and justice. Really, it has to be fair and equal give and take. And it's not necessarily about it being like, you do this thing for me and then I'll do that thing for you, so that it's balanced. It's just really about having mutual respect and authenticity and just integrity, all of these important, loving and peaceful and healthy dynamics in each and every one of our relationships. And if that is not the case, then these planets are gonna really push us to shift the dynamics. And it really starts with ourselves and making sure that we are honoring ourselves and making space for ourselves to really go into that cave of ourselves, to really be comfortable in that cave, to go in there. I don't know what you're gonna see when you go into that cave. There could be so many creepy crawlies and bats and things like that, but you have to sit with it all and just allow yourself to observe it all, and don't judge yourself for any of it, don't attach yourself to any of it, just feel through it all. Journal about it if you want to, because Mercury, Mars, maybe you want to move it out, like yoga, dance, go for a walk, connect with nature, whatever it is that you feel called to do to help you really feel comfortable and nourished and nurtured in this new moon energy, which is the dark moon. It's when everything is a bit more still and quiet, and allowing you the space to go within and be still and be present with yourself. And at the time of the new moon, Jupiter will have recently moved into Cancer, which is also aspecting this new moon, and not in the nicest way. It's in a hard aspect. So Jupiter is illuminating to us, where are we not nurturing and nourishing ourselves in a more aligned way, and where can we shift that? Because that Cancerian energy, which is so beautiful, and even though Jupiter is in a hard aspect, it's in a really good place with being in Cancer, and it's really, really positive there, in a really positive nakshatra as well, Purnavasu, which is reminding us of where we need to really nurture and nourish not just our physical body but also our soul, because Chitra nakshatra has this duality of being either, you can be sometimes, which we will all find within ourselves at times, where we're either overly focused on the material and physical of nurturing and nourishing our body, for example, by exercising and eating right, and which is really important, by the way, and finding something that makes you feel good to wear, to do your hair in a certain way that makes you feel more confident in yourself, which these external things are so important, but also the soul spiritual side of it is so important. Meditating, going within, doing the shadow work, going into the cave of your inner self to see what you've been avoiding and repressing, and what you actually just need to sit with. And maybe if you just allowed yourself the space to sit with it and feel it and then heal it, release it, you wouldn't need to be running around doing so much in the external world to heal that thing. It may just be just you being sitting and allowing yourself to get into that receptive energy for a moment to then align more with divine aligned action and flow, which Chitra is ruled by Mars, and to align with the more evolved aspect of Mars is to be in harmony with the Venus and Mars, which is the divine feminine and masculine, which is taking aligned, intuitive, receptive action, not forcing yourself and pushing yourself to do things out of the motivation to, I don't know, to gain external validation, for example, or to make sure someone else is okay, and putting them above your own needs, and really just pushing away yourself more and more until you're like so far from yourself. These are just some things to think about at the time of this new moon, because I do feel that these themes are really rising up for so many of us. That's basically all I wanted to share with you all for this next new moon, this new chapter. I hope and pray that you all have such a healing new start to this new chapter, and make time, make space for yourself to really feel, to process whatever wants to come up, to meditate, and to set some new goals and new intentions for this next chapter. And you may feel called to move your energy through some actionable steps, or you may want to have a more introspective time. I recommend trying to make some space to do both if you can, because of the Mars and Mercury influence. I also want to just leave you with this, that Vedic astrology, also known as Jyotish, is known as the science of light, which to me is the epitome of shadow work, which is what this new moon is really calling us for, and what all of these moon cycles actually are always calling us for, is to go within and do that shadow work. But especially post eclipse season, we are being called to face our shadows, to face that cave within us, within our heart. So yeah, when the light of the celestial bodies, the planets and the stars, are shining down on our shadows, which is what really Vedic astrology is. It's the light of these celestial bodies shining down their love and their healing wisdom and guidance onto our shadows to bring more awareness and more clarity and understanding to what it is we haven't faced in ourselves and in our lives. And it's not just negative things or hard things. Well, nothing is negative, but it's not all just things that are difficult. It's also, a lot of us have these dormant skills and traits and powerful gifts that we hold that we are unaware of, that we can really see in our birth chart. And also with current transits that are happening, sometimes they also come in. Some planet may be coming in and activating a certain house for you, and then this is the time for you to initiate a new skill, a new trait within you that's being unlocked. And so Vedic astrology can be so empowering. And there's that quote that the stars can't shine without the darkness, and it's very similar to the whole understanding of Jyotish, of the science of light. You can't really embody the light without also embodying that darkness. And there is that whole theme of duality that I mentioned with this new moon cycle. And there's also this quote by Carl Jung that my best friend told me, and it's you can't reach the heavens without reaching the roots of hell. You can't reach to the top of the heavens, which is really connected to that Vishaka energy of Vishaka is about entering the heavens, but also excreting the poisons and the toxins within us, which you can excrete down into the roots of hell. And my best friend who told me this quote, and this is her favorite quote, and she has Vishaka in her chart. I also have Vishaka in my chart. It's actually my Jupiter sign. So I do tend to probably give out this underlying wisdom that is connected to that star, which is really about that duality and how they are both so important. I'm going to stop rambling now. I hope that you all have a beautiful new moon. I will see you all in my next video. Bye!